Stephanie, many are calling this a very historic day for Hawaii, and it is a big step towards a huge victory for civil union supporters. The developers, Castle and Cook, say they are right on track. Right now, their petition to build is in the hands of the State Land Use Commission. Then it will go to zoning. There is a steady stream of people showing up to see this much anticipated film about the history of Hawaii. Well, this Airbus will stay here on Oahu for the next month for maintenance and training, and then it will begin its route from Honolulu to Los Angeles in early June. Another issue the neighborhood board members want to tackle is how many actual light posts there are now along this road. This is considered the most expensive TV miniseries ever made. They've poured in $195 million. The goal here tonight is to raise $80,000, but the family's long-term vision is to turn Friends of K. House Sullivan into a nonprofit organization. The last day of the legislature ended with celebration in the Rotunda. Civil union supporters cheered a historic moment for Hawaii.
Members of the House, House Bill number 444, House Draft 1, Senate Draft 1, pass final reading. Lawmakers passed the civil unions bill with a vote of 31 to 20. Spearheading the effort, House Majority Leader Blake Oshiro, who revived the bill at the last minute.
I'm extremely proud of this day because I think, Martin Luther King has said it best. The arc of history is long, and once in a while you get to bend it correctly. And today we bent it in the right way towards justice.
I was in opposition, but it was very historic. Blake Oshiro, the majority leader, was a hero for this bill. He did a great job, a lot of respect for him.
The measure would give unmarried same-sex couples and heterosexual couples the same rights under state law.
And I'm happy that it's finally done. The vote was taken. Democracy at work was here at this Capitol.
I was always positive, even when people were saying it's dead. The bill's dead. I stayed positive. I worked with a lot of different people that helped to really make this happen today.
Lieutenant Governor Duke Aiona is against the bill and released this statement. If the legislature wanted to establish the equivalent of same-sex marriage, they should have put it on the ballot for the people to decide. This bill should not be allowed to become law. Others against civil unions agree.
We're really sad for the state of Hawaii, and especially for the children, because they're going to have to grow up with such confusion in their minds.
Now, the Senate did pass this bill back in January, so now it is in the hands of the governor. And if it does become law, Hawaii will join New Jersey as the only two states in the nation that will honor civil unions. Reporting live at the state capitol, Holly Juscen, Hawaii News Now. And right now, there are still employees inside having to write stories and headlines about themselves and this sale, and it's been a very tough day for them.
Good afternoon, folks. My name's Evan Ray.
The announcement came as a shock and surprised employees at the Honolulu Advertiser. At a 4 o'clock staff meeting, they were told the Star Bulletin owner is buying their paper.
People are just wondering about their particular situations, whether they'll have jobs or what's going to happen under the new regime. A new owner brings with him, new ideas and his own management team and everything else. So we just have to figure out, what he wants and how we'll go forward.
Their future is in doubt, as I'm sure our friends at the Star Bulletin are feeling the same way. Their future is even more in doubt, perhaps. Yeah, it looks like we're going to be, there's a good possibility it'll be a one newspaper's town.
That almost happened in 1999 when the Star Bulletin almost shut down. But then Canadian publisher David Black bought the Bulletin, and he is the one in charge of this deal and is planning to sell again.
Even though I like David Black, I don't agree with what's going to transpire. And I think you'll see the business community, as it did the last time, and the general public saying, no, we don't want this.
The buyout period will last 6 to 8 weeks. Employees at both papers will continue to operate as normal during this period. If the Star Bulletin is sold, then 2 papers remain. If there is no buyer, the 2 papers will merge.
I think you always want 2 papers. You always want the competition. I think that's really important. So if the Star Bulletin were to find a buyer, I think that would be the best scenario. I think that would at least preserve more jobs.
Now, also a group called Save the Star Bulletin says they will be making a movement once again. They did it back in 1999. They say they will be trying to get Governor Lingle involved in the next couple of weeks to try and preserve these two papers and make sure that two papers remain in this city.
Holly Juscen has our special report on the state of meth.
Hey, look, I'm only gonna smoke meth once.
Not even once. It's one of the most intense and raw ad campaigns anyone has ever seen. Teens addicted to ice, almost painful to watch.
Feedback that I've received from families, feedback that I've received from addicts in recovery has been that they believe that this is making a difference.
The Hawaii Meth Project came on the scene last June, blanketing airways and schools, driving home the dangers of a drug that has plagued Hawaii for years. But long before the in-your-face ads, there was Life or Meth, the 2003 Edgy Lee documentary that aired on 11 TV and radio stations, shining a spotlight on Hawaii's ice crisis. Caught in the crisis, Joe Lewis.
Within a matter of weeks, I went from a one-time user to a full-blown addict.
Joe took his first hit of ice with his father at the age of 14. By 18, Lewis was facing 17 felony counts and had a newborn son. He desperately wanted out. Joe's story is just one of thousands during the height of the ice war.
In the 2003-2004 era, we would seize tens of millions of dollars.
And the problem got even worse. At the peak in 2005, Honolulu police alone investigated 962 ice cases that led to 719 arrests. Since then, both numbers have been in steady decline. Part of the reason? The pseudo-Federal crackdown that went into effect in 2006. A key ingredient for cooking ice was cut off. Statewide, drug enforcement authorities say the number of meth lab busts disappeared. There have been none in the last 4 years. But ice is far from gone. Importation is still a problem.
Typically stages out of Nevada and California. You have people that body pack it and carry it in on the flights or by vessel.
The number of meth cases at the Honolulu prosecutor's office has also dropped, but prosecutor Peter Carlisle says individual cases have gotten even worse.
I can't think of any worse case that we've had than somebody who will throw a 23-month-old off a freeway onto a busy freeway below and then stare down and look to see his handiwork. There's a whole bunch of work that's been done to let younger people know about the dangers of meth, and that seems to be succeeding.
And Joe Lewis is a part of that success. He's been clean now for 8 years, his father for almost 7. He graduated from McKinley High School at the age of 22 and is now working on his bachelor's degree at UH. But his main passion is working with the Hawaii Meth Project and telling teens to stay away from ice.
I share with them my personal story about how I started using the drug, how vulnerable each of them are.
I think it's really important for teenagers to hear from people who have been directly affected by this drug, who have used it themselves.
I think there needs to be more role models, there needs to be more people setting examples so that they can see that it is possible.
I'm going to try math, just once.
And it's this kind of prevention and education that could help the younger generation break the chain of ice addiction. Holly Juscen, Hawaii News Now.